Thank you very much, Mr. Chairperson. Permit me to acknowledge the presence of the Right Honorable Prime Minister, Dean Oliver Barrow, may I add Senior Counsel. I would like to acknowledge the presence of the President of the Caribbean Court of Justice, Adrian Dudley Saunders. I'd like also to recognize the former President of the Caribbean Court of Justice, Sir Dennis Byron. And at this point, I will content myself to say, with your leave, Mr. Prime Minister, protocols having been established, I will move on. Good morning to you all. It gives me immeasurable pleasure to join the Right Honorable Prime Minister in welcoming you all visiting judicial officers from the Caribbean, Africa, Europe, Canada, and the United States to Belize on the occasion of the 6th Biennial Conference of the Caribbean Association of Judicial Officers. Today is a historic day in Belize, for never before have so many judicial officers gathered within its shores. This day will surely be recorded in the annals of the history of this beautiful land. 12 years ago, the heads of judiciary of the Caribbean member states, in their wisdom, took the decision that there should be held periodically a conference for judicial officers of the Caribbean that would be geared towards ameliorating and enhancing judicial services and improving judicial systems in the region. Plainly, the objective was to provide a forum for an exchange of ideas and for judicial education as we now know it to be. It was not in this form 12 years ago. Since its inaugural conference in 2009, judicial officers have met in growing numbers in different countries in the Caribbean to further their objectives in varied and innovative ways. My apologies. It is fair to say that 10 years later, the vision of those heads of judiciary, which was promulgated in 2007, has borne abundant fruit. The judiciary of Belize is an active participant in the activities of CAJO through its judicial officers at all levels. It has been represented on the association's management committee and has actively supported disaster relief initiatives. Indeed, the time is right for Belize to be the host of this gathering. This event has been over 2 years in the making, and at the end of it all, I trust that those of you who are visiting for the first time would leave content in the belief that this is a young nation that is not only picturesque and bustling with development, bolstered by a rich heritage, but also a haven of democracy and the rule of law. The entire Supreme Court and Magistracy of Belize are in attendance at this event and will be for the duration of the conference. So please feel free to speak with them so that there can be exchanges of ideas. We have in our midst 3 alcaldes whose role in the 39 indigenous villages in the Toledo and Stand Creek districts is partially judicial. So with your indulgence, Mr. Prime Minister, I would like them to be acknowledged. Could the 3 alcaldes please stand so we can acknowledge you? Mr. Juan Cucol, Mr. Nalberto Alcalha, and Mr. Nicasio Sanchez. They are respectively the President, Vice President, and an executive member of the Toledo Alcaldes Association of Belize. Now, the broad objectives of the conference are in the main twofold. Primarily, it is the fervent hope of the organizers that you will attend all the sessions and contribute to the discussions in the highly relevant and interesting subjects over the next 2.5 days. Much thought has informed the content of the program, and the presenters are primed to lead discussions. The second objective is to afford you the opportunity to get a sample of the rich culture of Belize while enjoying the fellowship that inevitably accompanies judicial contact. Belize is known for its diversity in culture, arising from its many ethnic groups, and we pride ourselves in providing a space for all peoples to flourish, as we are reminded by the inscription on the coat of arms, Sub Umbra Florio. Our judicial system is invested in furthering the cause of access to justice and equal protection under the law in a substantive way. So symbolic of this trust, this morning's flag-bearing ceremony showcased flag bearers who represented the young, the mature, the differently abled, the LGBT community, indigenous groups, and ethnic groups. Last night, the Garifuna culture and music were on display, and for the next 2 nights, we will give you a snapshot of Belize's history for your information and entertainment. We hope you enjoy what we have to offer. Before I take my seat, I want to emphatically express our gratitude to the government of Belize for its tremendous, generous, and unhesitating support to the judiciary in mounting this conference. Words can hardly describe the outstanding cooperation of the agencies of government with which we are collaborating. Just allow me to single out the protocol section of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, headed by Mrs. Tasha Kane, who's somewhere in the room. I know she doesn't like to be pointed out in that fashion, so we acknowledge her. The security services under the watchful eye and guidance of Assistant Commissioner Marco Vidal, the Immigration Department and the Customs Department. And I also want to make special mention of the National Institute of Culture and History. We have the subject minister, Deputy Prime Minister, with us. Please convey our profoundest gratitude. There are many others, but they will be thanked when the time is right. But in the presence of the Right Honorable Prime Minister, I could not afford to let this opportunity go. So I say to him, please convey to all agencies of government the profound gratitude of the judiciary. And with those few remarks, I welcome all of our visitors to our lovely Jewel Belize, and I wish us all a successful and productive Cargo Tajo 2019 conference. Thank you very much.